Hey everyone, and welcome to REZOcast episode 51. This is Lego, and I've got with me Hove and the Manigator. Triton isn't here this week, but we have our special guest, Sweepthelegz, Resolute's very own. Thank you so much for coming on the show, man. How's your week been?
Thank you, guys. It's a pleasure. Absolute honor. When Hove reached out, I was pretty pumped because I've enjoyed watching quite a few of these in the past, so it's kind of a surreal experience.
He was pumped because I
Yeah.
had to pay him $100.
Oh, okay. Well,
Oh,
how
man.
you been enjoying D2, man? How did you get to? I would ask you, did you get to raid it all? But we kind of experienced that together this
We
week.
did. Yes, we did. No, it was a good experience. It was a tough raid. I think we can all kind of agree. Hove, you were in our group as well. Yeah, it was a tough raid. It was fun though. I think it was really heavily on the puzzle section, which I think is some of the areas that I enjoyed the most from the previous raid. So I had a blast, absolute blast.
Yeah, for sure. So me, Hove, and Sweep all got to raid together, and we all got to watch Mana finish a raid. Actually, Mana, how has your week been?
Oh, the past just all day yesterday was like committed to the raid, and the previous days committed to finally boosting my light level. Considering I've been in Crucible way too much, I felt behind. But yeah, the grind, man. Committed to the grind.
It's funny too, because light level really, really mattered in this raid, didn't it?
Yeah. It was like what?
I'm
It's
just kidding.
adjusted
I'm just
260 no, it's like 260 to 280. But when we found out like level 300 people were like struggling, everyone got intimidated. We're like, oh my goodness, like what is this?
Yeah.
We were like, oh, okay. Hove, what about you?
I mean, same thing. The raid was kind of the big highlight as far as, Destiny and gaming goes this week. We didn't finish it. Boo. But, we had some people had to drop out, and then we just kind of were like, that's enough for now. We'll finish it, at another time. And I've kind of taken a break since then. I think it wore me out a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't play at all today because of the raid.
Right?
Yep.
It was very draining, I have to admit. But I did go back, and even though our group didn't finish it, I did go back in solo just to explore, because there's a lot to look at there. Which, before I even get any further, I want to just go ahead and say we're going to be talking about the raid, not like in super, super detail. We're not going to be going through maybe we'll talk about some strategies on stuff that was hard, but we're just going to be talking about it
We'll
here.
definitely talk about stuff that was hard.
So if Hope can talk about that part. If you're like trying to stay spoiler free, you can just pause this for now. But we're gonna dive into it because that is what is going on this week. So, but before we completely dive into that, we want to get to know Sweep a little bit. This is his first time here on the show, brand new member of Resolute as well. So we just want to get to know you a little bit, man. Where do you feel like your place in the Destiny community is? What do you do here? Where can people find you? What will they find you doing?
Okay, yeah. So I guess starting out in Destiny, I bought it when it first came out, leveled up, hit that wall where like VOG wasn't out yet, and it was like, well, this game's kind of over, isn't it? Like there's not really much left to do. So I kind of took a hiatus, kind of got off the game and didn't really touch anything until the House of Wolves came out. I had some friends that stayed with the game. They knew I loved PvP in the past in terms of competitive stuff. So they're like, hey, this Trials kind of came out. You'd probably be interested in it. You should get back into it again. So I started doing that and absolutely fell in love. I think that was kind of one area that really kind of made the community kind of real for me, at least, was not only getting to play with two very close friends on a weekend, every weekend. But then as soon as you kind of got confident enough where it was like, okay, we can probably help other people and do two of us instead of all three of us kind of running together. And that's kind of where it kind of spawned. I'm sure, you guys all kind of been included in those weekends all through D1. So it's kind of the same story. You kind of got into it, and it was just an opportunity for me to get to meet amazing people in the community as we went along. It was never really a service industry necessarily, like some people like to claim the Destiny directory has turned into. For me, it was always just an opportunity to say, we get to chat with these people on a day-to-day basis, but through Twitter or through Twitch and chat. But this was an opportunity to kind of come full circle and get them into a party and get to play with them and get to know them while we're going in between games and just to chat and get to know some amazing people. And I think that it's amazing because some of my strongest friendships have now spawned from D1 and those experiences coming into D2. And I think that's probably the coolest part of it, is just now kind of started from scratch again. And, you know, in D1, I had such a hard time trying to find people to play with. And now all of a sudden it's like my friends list is totally populated with people doing so many different activities. And that's just, it's a really, really cool experience.
Dude, it's so packed right now, that friends list. It's so hard to find my friends. The clan thing actually working now, the clan roster has been a lifesaver. I'm like, oh my gosh, finally.
Do you know my favorite part about the clan roster? Two favorite parts about the clan roster?
What?
One, I still have friends who don't show up on my friends list, but they show up in the clan roster.
What?
Yeah, Wilson still won't show up on my friends list. Or Sam.
Oh my gosh.
And two, even if you're appearing offline, you still show up in the clan roster. So Rally, I know when you're online. See you. So I messaged you last night. I was like, oh, Rally's not on. Oh, well. And then I was like looking through the clan roster, or whatever night it was. And I was like, oh, he is on. Bitch.
That's trying to hide. Can't hide anymore if you're in a clan.
Well, Sweep, I can attest to your great PvP skills. Us playing with Wilson the other night, I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's so, like, every single game you were above a 5.0, I think, and we were all like just trying to keep up with you, you know? And so we were like, oh my gosh, like, this is gonna be crazy. And we had just a blast, like, just plowing through like maybe 10 to 15 Crucible games in a row. It was ridiculous. So
that was fun. A lot of fun.
Definitely a very good player we have with us here today. But do you enjoy like the Crucible over the PvE stuff? You think that's where your place is for Destiny?
So PvE, like I'm not proud to admit that in my past I've had some WoW in my life at one point in time. So the PvE element was always kind of something I always enjoyed. So the raids and stuff always kind of interested me. Yeah. But it doesn't last very long. So like, you know, I'll do the raid and it's great experience, but it's not something that I'll go do every weekend. Like I can't just sit there and grind raid after raid after raid. So I've always been PvP oriented in terms of first person shooter games. So that's what kind of has drawn me into this game more and more. And I think that's what kind of kept it alive, obviously, I think for all of us at a certain point for D1. But this initial grind for D2 has all been PvE, obviously, because you're trying to gear up. But I think now that we finally hit this kind of cap to a certain extent, I can't wait now to just shift focus and dive directly into Crucible.
Yeah.
What's Crucible?
That one thing where you shoot the mans?
The thing that Manny used to do before he became a raid monster?
Yeah.
Talk about Crucible tomorrow, though, man.
Oh,
right. Tomorrow. I can't wait to talk about that. What I got one last question for you, Sue. I'm not sure if anybody else has anything they want to throw in, but I would like to know, you know, we've been talking about D2 for the past several weeks, and now that you're here, I'd like to hear, and Destiny 2 is here as well, what's been your favorite part of D2 so far, just the experience? Is there a particular thing that's like, man, I really love this?
So going into D2 before it launched, I was really, really pumped for the strikes because I always love grinding strikes, especially when you got like two friends on and it was something you can kick back for an hour or 2 hours and just grind strikes, get some gear, and just kind of shoot the shit. I've been really taken by surprise on how much fun I'm having with public events. Public events have been a blast because it's the same gear that you're pretty much getting from strikes. So there's no real reason to grind strikes anymore, per se, in its current state. So for me, like public events has just been a blast to hop into. That's probably my favorite.
Not to mention, you didn't really do that a lot in D1. You know, it's like everyone like kind of did them here and there, but now in D2, everyone's jumping into them. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's definitely fun. I mean, I do think that's partially a product of them being new too. You know, I think anything people start to fall out, but they're definitely much better put together this time and have more reason to do them than they did in D1 for sure. And they give you a shit ton of XP. If you complete a heroic one, you get like 3,600 XP. It's like three quarters of a level. Yeah. If you're like trying to realize it's that much.
Holy crap. People were going from like level 8 to 20 in like 3 hours of just doing public strikes.
Yeah. Those bright engrams though.
Right.
There was something that I heard about public events recently. you saying that about public events, and like there's different mechanics in them now, whereas before they weren't very interesting. It was like the only one that had a mechanic was like the fallen walker one, and all you had to do was shoot its leg out, and that's how you take it down, you know. Whereas now there's like all these different things to do to make it heroic mode. It actually has some sort of, even if it's simple, there's some goal that people are trying to do together, you know, and other than just shoot the mans. And so I was thinking about a joke somebody made about how Destiny PvE all the way up until the end of the game is like super simple, like easy, just shooting things, no mechanics at all. And then when they throw you into the raid, it's like, solve this complex problem. And what is it? You know, for the very first time, you're like, what? Yeah. But I feel like public events are almost like they actually take a little bit of that middle ground between the normal story experience and what you experience in strikes and the raid, because there's actually a mechanic there, which is really cool.
Makes it a challenge too, some of those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the furnace one or whatever it is, the vents.
Dude, that's the hardest one. Oh my!
I can barely do that. I can barely do that non-heroic by myself. Like that's a challenge.
Yeah, I was just running around with Shiny Sir and Gunga actually before this. Gunga went AFK to get food, so as Evan and I, we were in Trostland and we were just doing the glimmer mining one, where if you activate the heroic, then the buff dude comes down. We couldn't complete it.
Buff dudes.
That's why he has me on it here now. But anyways, like it was just too difficult for us. We just kept. Well, it didn't help that Evan accidentally left a pair of boots on that lowered his light level down to like 240. But it was just too. We were just getting slaughtered by this big buff Bantle. Like I don't know what he is, but yeah, it was painful. And then Gunga came back after we failed. And then we yelled at her. But
it is funny how like on a map they're so big now too. You can like end up like half your fire team can be back talking to, you know, Devon K, like getting their gear and stuff, and while the other half is doing a public event or someone's starting a patrol, you know. And I don't know. I'm gonna be curious to see what the ultimate loot farm is like for people doing different activities at the same time or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's all we got for you, Sweep. Now that everybody knows you a little bit, which is so great, I want to jump in and talk about this raid. There's tons of stuff with the TWAB we want to talk about too, but
there's one other thing.
Okay. Hope, let's see.
So besides, you know, as we mentioned earlier, new Rezo Membo. I always have one word where I just forget how to speak. Every week.
Sounds cool though.
Yeah, it's totally cool. Besides being new to Rezo, right, with right around the launch of D2, right? There's also you being a growing streamer and trying to do a little content creation, have a little fun. Is there another group that you may have joined recently that you may be doing a little stuff for?
Yeah, so about a month before D2 launched, month or 2 months roughly, got the opportunity to join the Planet Destiny group and doing the content creation. So kind of part of their stream team, running. Really, at that point, it was still kind of focused on trials on the weekends and kind of raids and strikes and stuff during the week. So that'll be kind of kicking back up here again. We kind of talked about right before the podcast. I think the first week I kind of want to take a break and just enjoy the game on my own, off stream, just with friends and kind of grind. And now that kind of things are going to probably, I'm not going to say slow down, but they're not as urgent, I guess, rather, to level up quickly for the raid. Mm-hmm. Kind of take the time, enjoy it, and kind of kick back with chat. So very, very anxious, very, very grateful to be a part of that group as well.
Yeah, that's something I thought was super cool. I just want to get that out there.
Awesome, dude. I remember when you announced it on Twitter, I was like, oh, that's awesome. That's so
good. I want to be friends with this guy. I keep telling him I don't want to be friends with him, but now that he's in Planet Destiny, I should be nice to him.
And like some weird pictures got sent to my phone. It was weird.
Yeah, and now he's here. That's how it happens.
Listen, that was chilly in that picture.
Yeah.
Wow, that was. I don't know where I was going with that.
Yeah, I didn't want to connect any dots that weren't there. So
yeah, forget that happened.
Can we paint a picture if we connect the dots?
You get the picture. If you connect the dots, you get the picture.
Nice. Right. Okay, on to the
raid. Okay, so the raid. Oh my gosh, guys, it's so massive. Like, I feel like that is the number one thing that sticks out to me. Like I'm just gonna throw it out there right from the beginning because it's so big, and you don't that it's big when you load in and see it for the first time, but then whenever you looking around the ship, it's
Right.
like, oh my gosh, there's so many different doors and passageways, and what is going on?
Yeah, I did not realize that even the starting bit, like when you're going up the stairs, I thought you just go up and like it looks pretty, but no, there's a bottom, there's like left, right, there's secret passages going in, like spoiler, I guess, maybe not, I don't know, but
No, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it all. It's great.
It's just one big map too, ain't it? Like I think everything's connected. Was there any other like loading zones? I don't remember. Other than maybe the boss area?
I don't remember ever seeing it. Destiny 2 has been real good about that, though, just in general, not showing loading screens. It kind of just, I don't know how they have it worked out, but it loads very fast and I've seen it like a few times I'll enter a loading screen.
I think it's just one massive raid hub that just flawlessly connects and is just super impressive.
I'll tell you what, I like it a lot better than Oryx's ship. Like, I feel like I could almost compare it to Oryx's ship somehow because it's so massive. It feels like I should be able to like do a patrol beacon or something because it's so big.
Yeah, I mean, size wise, you're probably right, and that was a raid area, a public patrol area. I mean, on Oryx's ship, like it was like this giant thing, and this was just like, oh hey, here's this raid, and it was like as big as one of our patrol areas.
Exactly,
like that's crazy.
Yeah,
it was. I liked. You mentioned how much. I think this is before the podcast. We talked that it's very, very teamwork oriented and mechanic driven puzzles. But I liked that it didn't seem to be solely like mechanics. Like Oryx, for instance, we've talked about before how no matter how good you got at it, no matter how high your light was, it was going to take the same amount of time because the only thing in it was mechanics to hurt Oryx. Whereas in this one, there's super crazy teamwork, and one thing going wrong can throw it off. But you do have to like kill things, you damage things. It's not just do this mechanic 12 times and prosper. So it had a really good mix of mechanics and just like gunplay. I just
like everything.
Yeah,
really. Like they just mixed They just threw everything into a mixer, and it came out to this glorious like raid right here that we got. It just fit together perfectly, I think.
So Mana, you're the only one out of all of us who has completed the entire thing. I went through and was able, like me and Sweep and Hove, we made it to the gardens basically, and then we had to take off after almost getting it. Like we had the last dog and couldn't kill it, and we were like, oh my gosh, like
the gardens is the dog area.
Yes, oh my gosh, but
the pleasure gardens.
Oh, is that what it's actually called?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think totally intentionally called that too, asshole.
Don't even get me started on that part. Oh, I know. When we got to there and spent like an hour, we were like, man, I wonder if we're far. And then we checked, like, we had our viewers like go and check like the Twitch. Everyone's stuck on that point. We're like, we feel better. We feel a little bit better. So let's start going. But that part was just, I feel like once you get used to it, maybe it won't be. But like at that right here, like that day, everyone's still learning. Oh my goodness, it was driving us crazy. Just one person, if you get seen by like the dog, it's done. Like you either have to commit or retreat or just wipe. We just ended up wiping like every time.
Yeah, same with us. The thing that I was gonna ask, so I got to play the very last encounter as well, the final boss, but I didn't get to play the middle stage between those. And then, so I just wanted to ask you, since you've played all of them, what was your favorite encounter out of all of those? Like, what was the most fun or most interesting for you?
Let me see. There's like there's quite a few parts in between before like the beginning of boss fight. I don't know what would be my favorite right now. This is actually a hard one.
Yeah.
I would say actually the pleasure gardens before we failed for like an hour and a half was probably my favorite. Like, I really like how it's kind of reminiscent to the Gorgon lair almost.
Yeah.
So I was really liking it, but then after an hour and a half of just like failing, or 2 hours, I don't know how long we took. It was just like, oh my gosh, I never want to do this part again.
Yes. Yep. It's honestly like, it's like the Gorgons, but like 10 times harder because you have to do things. Like Gorgons, you don't do anything. You just walk through. And this is like, oh my gosh, there's like 3 different things like 2 different groups of people are doing.
Yep. Yeah. That's one thing Bungie really implemented into this raid. You really splitting up people and having them do their own parts.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree. I'm curious to see, like, this one's kind of impossible to. You don't want to say something's impossible to solo because then somebody does it, but it really feels like how do you work this mechanic? Like, I can't see it happening on a lot of these. You know,
Obi and I was actually talking about it. It's like, how is Slayerage going to solo this one?
I mean, it's a new game. You know, maybe they got rid of Sunsinger. You got to think a big reason for that is just the fact that it was. I hate using the word crutch, but it was a crutch.
PvE
It was a
breaking.
trick, for PvE.
Yeah.
Maybe that was one thing that they really went into it thinking about, and that's maybe why it's so puzzle driven.
yeah,
Maybe.
for sure. I mean, I could.
Oh, wait, actually, what about the bathers? You have to stand on 4 plates. How can you solo?
Exactly.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
But that's probably what I haven't encountered some of the middle stuff, but the gardens and the end boss, I feel like the bathers is actually my favorite section right now, just because
Because you like Naked Cabal.
well, it was so weird.
You didn't
first of
deny
all. And it was so different than any other encounter. Like, it reminded me of certain other encounters, mainly in King's Fall, when you had to open the portal basically and go run back, not the portal but the gate. You had to run back and forth with the thing that made it safe to stand on the plates, and it was similar to that, but it seemed more fun though. It wasn't like so many things shooting at you all the time. It was more like just getting that rhythm down, and it was actually fun to do. Like, I'm excited to play that section again.
I thought
that part wasn't too shabby, like teamwork wise. It made everyone run around constantly. After a while, like at the beginning, we're like, "How are we going to do this?" But towards the end, we're like, "Actually, this is pretty easy." I feel, as long as you don't accidentally mess up, fall into like the what is it called, like the
which I did
nectar or whatever, the wine. Yeah, we've actually, those spectral scions that appeared. We thought you had to melee all of them. Like, we didn't know you can shoot the other ones, and we would be jumping at the one that's floating there, like the second one that pops up. And half our fire team jumped into the corner pool and died while jumping through the scion. We're like, what? How do we kill this guy? We're like, oh, we can just shoot him.
Oh my gosh.
You got to think that Bungie's just watching all these random teams, and like when something like that happens, they're just like, really, guys, like, why would you even think, like, that's not even a strat. Like, what are you doing?
That's my favorite thing though, about watching streamers for the world's first, run, or people's first time doing it, is seeing all the things that they think, it is to do, or even us whenever we were running through and we were like trying to figure out what to do in the maze or not the maze, but in the gardens, trying to figure out like, well, do we use these things to shoot the dogs, and like, what do we do?
I think that was a fair first guess though.
No, it is. It's just fun.
I think
and
the
funny.
one that was terrible was how many times did we, in the bathers thing, did we let it go all the way down to what turned out to be the wipe mechanic, thinking we did something correctly?
Yes. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
that
really?
purple stuff started coming out. What do we have to do now? And I was like, after 4 times, I was like, I don't think that's good.
Yeah.
I think that's bad.
The poison smoke is bad.
We've stood here for 10 minutes doing nothing, and the game's alerting us that we're at our end.
Yeah.
Yeah, we thought they were like indicators, because a couple of us thought we only saw like not all the vents shoot out the purple stuff. So we're like, oh, maybe like that corner, like only 2 of them spurts out, like that's like number 2 for something. We gotta find the first one, and then it ended up just being, oh no, all of them. Never mind. Yeah.
You're just
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, I think that one of the coolest things about, at least especially the bathing part, what was it called? The Royal Pools? Was that the name of the actual encounter? Royal Pools, I think.
It
I
might
can't
be.
remember.
I can't remember.
yeah.
It wasn't like, how pretty much every other encounter that I can think of was some sort of somebody's lair. You went to meet someone, or it was somewhere like the Abyss.
Yes.
This was like we just showed up in their house, and literally they were getting a bath, and we were like, yeah, we're coming in. Do you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't
It's so weird.
It wasn't an area like.
Are you into that?
Yeah, that's what I do, man.
There was literal like Lord of the Rings cave trolls, naked
Yes.
cave trolls coming
Yeah.
out of the pool, and it was like, what are you doing down there, bud?
Yeah, it wasn't like we went. War Priest, he was waiting for us to prove that we were worthy, or the Abyss and then the bridge and there's guards there. Like we legit walked in on bath time.
Like we caught him off guard.
Like
100%.
With your
bath
pants
time.
down.
With the
Literally.
pants down.
Towels on.
We walked into bath time, and then we took some dogs on a walk in the pleasure garden.
Would it be safe to say we dropped a bath bomb?
Oh,
My God.
I don't know. I don't know.
All right, I'm done. I'm
saving
leaving.
that all night.
What did y'all, Mana? What did you think about the last encounter with because it had a lot of teleporting the way that like Atheon would work. What did you think?
Oh, you're talking about the boss battle?
The boss battle.
That was also a doozy. So it's like you split up into 2 teams of 3. Well, you're forced to in order to create all that. And then you have to actually use communicate back and forth while paying attention to your own things. And it was like 2 a.m. for us. Oh my goodness, we were committed, but we were going downhill fast. So it's like one team is just like, I didn't know what TV. It was TV, Jedi Guild, and Darkness. They stayed in the main room with Callus. So I don't actually know all that they were doing because Hovey, MTash, and we committed to the part with the big floaty head. I don't know if you guys saw that.
That's what I did too. I was the inside guy whenever I was playing it.
So yeah, there's like a huge spectral like what's that one dude from Star Fox?
Yes, it is like that. It's like Star Fox. Oh my gosh.
He's there. He's inhaling. You're slowly getting sucked towards him, and you have to talk to your teammates for them to create these little walls to stop you from getting like eaten.
Yes. I was saying Doctor Strange in my head, but now that you said Star Fox, I think that's the perfect description.
It's like Hovey said that immediately, and everyone was like, "It is."
Yes,
it actually is. And then when you get to the end of that, he starts puking out skulls, and they're flying at you. You have to shoot these floating skulls to get damage multipliers. It's just like, what is going on in this raid?
Yes, it's so weird. It made me so excited to read the lore about it, though. Like, I know tons of lore people are like, whenever they see a new weapon posted on Twitter, they're like, "Oh, could you DM me what the lore says in the lore description for that gun?" Because apparently, that's where all the grimoire is now. It's like in the game, and so people are all wanting to read all of it because it's just so weird, and it kind of the way that encounter starts where you do the little ding and shoot the cup out of his hand. It's like, this is gonna be silly. Like the way this is starting, like this is ridiculous. That this is a boss battle.
It was just like Callus was just like, "Yo, okay, you guys survived to this point. Come on up, to my pimp chamber. And we'll chill." And then we shoot the cup out of his hand, and he's like, "Yo, not cool." I'm pretty sure we were buds up until that point. I think we could have like signed a couple papers and be like, you leave our places alone, because he was impressed. And then we just had to shoot the chalice out of his hand.
Yep.
What does he say? Like, even the whole like we were buds up to that part. Like, I'm pretty sure from what I understand, like most of the lore and the story behind that kind of does say that. Like, he was like grateful that we took out Gaul, and he was like, come and we'll give you power and gifts and yada 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 blah blah blah. Like, that's cool.
As far as what I've read, it's been that too. So it's interesting. I can't wait to like get the full story, the full picture,
Right.
Which that's something that I wanted to talk about is the story, the lore of this raid. Because when we first spawned in, I made Hove shut up. I was like, "No, don't stop talking. I don't want you to ruin this moment for me." But he because you immediately were like, "How did we get here? What's the point of us being here?"
Oh, yeah.
And it was valid. I just didn't want to hear it right then, But
I thought you meant whenever they were talking, and I was like, "No."
Oh, you mean directly at the beginning where we just kind of flew in?
Yeah.
Apparently, no one was allowed to talk about how cool everything looked or anything. We all had to be quiet for like.
No, I didn't mean it like that. I just meant like because he asked a valid question, which I wanted to bring up here, which is like why like I don't feel like the story missions really validated. Like why we were here, what this thing was.
Yeah, I think we're missing out on a cutscene. Wink, wink, Bungie.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, they did so good with all the other cutscenes. I thought for sure we would have some sort of cutscene explanation, and I don't expect them to do it right then because people are racing to finish,
Yeah.
But like if we would have got it the day before or that morning or something to kind of, this is what we're going to be doing.
Yeah, I do agree on that there was kind of a gap. It was like we had that little quest thing in our heavy slot or our power weapon slot that was just like, You're invited to the what was it called that we just went to, the raid, the
The
Leviathan.
Leviathan, yeah.
Yeah. That was like the only thing really indicating it, and then we're just there, and then we take it. you know,
Yeah.
No,
there
I
wasn't
know.
really much explanation, I guess.
I know there was an adventure or whatever called like Invitation from the Emperor, I think.
Uh-huh.
But I don't know. Maybe I just didn't pay enough attention to it that it really said like explicitly. I'm looking now, but know
I
that
think
was...
my point is that like I feel like it should have been in the story. Like if it's someplace we have to go, like why isn't there an in between requirement? Because I haven't done all the adventures yet at this point.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go through the game that fast, but the raid is available. Like, and I clearly don't need to do all these adventures to play the raid. So that's kind of what I was hoping, is that there would be something in between there. Like,
so exactly what I said, you told me to shut up about.
Yes.
Okay.
Which I
just clarifying. Just
yes.
clarifying.
No, and I agree with you. Just in the moment, I was like, "Oh my gosh, stop talking! This cutscene's amazing."
It wasn't even a cutscene.
It was a cutscene.
I think his exact verbiage during the raid was, "Turn your subtitles on."
No, that was a different part.
That was a different part,
and that was just. I wasn't saying like let's talk over it. I was just saying if someone's like yelling about something or whatever, just have your subtitles on. Because someone said like, what if they say something we need to know? And I was like, well, that's why I always have subtitles on. Better safe than sorry.
Pretty
Come
much.
on, guys.
It's true. It's true. I do like subtitles a lot.
Also makes it better if you're streaming and stuff like that. So if you're the one making the noise, and then your viewers are like, "Shut up, streamer!" But,
I'm always the one making the noise. That's not even a dirty joke. I'm just always talking. But I also make all the noise.
In case you're wondering.
Oh my gosh.
All right, so there was one part in the raid. We were lost for like 40 minutes in this like maze underneath the hole.
Yes.
You guys get down there?
Yeah, I did by myself.
I don't know if you had to go down there or something. But
Did you go? How did you get there? Was it from the baths?
It was. Was that after the baths, or was that after?
There's multiple ways to get down there.
Yeah. Which I think I think it was after the dog section.
Okay.
Where we went down through this hallway and we had to pull these levers to open up this secret passage.
Ah.
And then we all accidentally, somehow, I really don't understand. Like, me and MTash died in a certain area and it spawned us somewhere else, and then we all got lost somehow. And we were down there in that maze for like 40 minutes until we finally found each other.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I went back in there solo just because I found the bottom levers. There's like levers underneath the ship that you can go to like do in a certain order, and you can do it solo because we had that aqueduct key hove, and that chest is in the secret tunnel area somewhere. And I found that, but I also found how to get back into the gardens, like that way you don't have to cut through the main building. Because you spawn every time you spawn into the raid, you don't spawn into the location you finish.
Right.
You spawn on the outside, and you can use those tunnels as a shortcut to get back to whatever section you want to go to. And so I went back. Is that
only after you unlock them, though?
Yes.
Because you still have to do them in a certain order.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yes. So that's actually created a whole bunch of panic because people thought there was no checkpoints.
Oh
first.
yeah.
Like if you exited and they're like, "Oh my god, you have to do it." No, not technically. Like there's checkpoints, but they're not like immediate checkpoints. You still have to travel on foot.
Exactly.
Yeah, apparently that under like maze area underneath everything where you can get to all the different rooms, apparently that houses all those loot chests, bonus chests. It's just it is such a large area. There's so much to explore down there.
I can't believe how big it was, because when I was down there, I went just for the chest, but then I started just exploring on my own, and like I was like, oh, what's down this hallway? What's down this hallway?
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
That's what made me realize how big this area is. That's what made me realize, like, there's no loading zones. Like, this, I just ran from, I don't know, like, the outside the beginning area, because there's a false wall you can walk through, and it, like, opens up, and you're right outside. And then I ran all the way to the pleasure gardens, or whatever it's called. I was like, what is this? You know, it's like, am I cheating right now? Should I not have found this yet?
It's awesome.
So... is anybody? I mean, I didn't, finish it, but from hearing from some other people, with where they ended up light level and everything, does anyone else seem to think that the loot was kind of underwhelming though?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. I feel like they should, because just seeing, Mana, what did you get? Since you're the one who completed everything, what kind of loot did you get from it?
So during the raid, outside of the tokens that we're all getting, outside
Yeah.
of that, I got. Let's see. I got
And
the
the
pulse.
butt. Okay, cool.
Did you just
In
say
the butt?
in the
Wait,
butt?
what?
Yeah, no, he did. Okay, thank you.
I
Thank you.
said, but I was saying, but all the, except for all the tons of buttload of legendary Ingrams that we got, because we all had a ton of those drops.
But they were all like 10 lower light than you
Yeah,
were.
like yeah.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
They all hit at like a hard
Outside
cap.
of those, you
But
got the
we
pulse
got-
rifle. You were saying?
We did get a lot. Let's see. I got the pulse rifle. I got the what is it? Oh, I got the cape. What? What?
No,
What
I
are
was
you
just
giggling
laughing
at?
Comment. Sorry. You got the cape. That's all. That thing looks awesome.
So those are the only two things I got during the raid, and then I think the last chest gave me another cape, but it was at 300. So that
Gosh,
was
that's-
kind of cool.
Yeah, that seems so little though. Still, like a cape and a pulse rifle.
But
And
what people have been telling me is that you can go back in the raid multiple times to keep on getting tokens to trade in.
Oh.
for,
Yeah, but that just doesn't have the same feeling, I don't think.
It's true. It's true.
I kind of
So,
miss the.
I guess in a way, but still, though, I guess like I don't know if there's a limit on how many times you can go back. I feel like there should be, because after a while, I feel like people can just go to that one dude, turn in the tokens, and eventually get all the loot.
Mm.
But I think that's why they maybe did that, like have the loot drop so limited, or maybe it's just bad RNG. Yeah, maybe they will crank up the loot. I don't know.
It's just like I realize, you can keep getting tokens, then you turn them in, and that's the same loot that you get from those like packages or engrams, right? That you get from drops.
Mm.
But
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought like the whole point of not the whole point of the raid, but like one of the big draws of the raid is to go in there and not only get the best, highest like gear, but like I just beat this big dude's ass and he dropped me this cool shit.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
I don't know, for that
No,
to
I feel
not
ya.
be the case anymore just seems kind of counterproductive, right? Like
Which is crazy too, because even like in some of the trailers and stuff, the armor was some of the big selling point. I think for a lot of people was just some of the design
Mhm.
that people saw
Yeah.
in some of the trailers. So I think we were all kind of going in with potentially the hope of like, hey, we beat this boss. Look at this amazing chess piece that just drops. Look
Yeah.
at this.
Mhm.
Like I want to, and it has specific things for the raid. Like kind of like almost like how King's Fall was. Like that raid loot was badass, and it immediately had perks that were relevant to the raid. So it was like, hey, let me put this on real quick. I can benefit immediately from putting this on. I think that part was a little underwhelming because it didn't really feel like you were grinding out to quickly equip this new armor or weapons that you got.
Another
Yeah.
big disappointing part was every time they made you come back to like the maid hub area and you had to redo the things with the staffs or whatever they're called.
Yes.
Is you just licking your fingers? What do you?
yeah,
What was
the
that?
eyebrows. Come on, man. Pay attention.
I thought you were trying to seduce
Kim
me?
said
I don't know.
Man, we're way past that.
Oh, okay. GG.
Oh, okay.
I accept. What? Okay. So like no, but every time you finish it, the door
still
would open
talking
and
about-
there's a chest.
Okay, never mind.
I'm trying to go on with this. I'm sorry. But there'd be a chest immediately right behind the door, right? And you open it up, you only get like 500 glimmer out of that
Right?
big
Yes.
chest.
What was
I
the
didn't
one
even
like,
notice. I didn't know what it was.
What was the one? I think it was after the bathers, maybe that we opened. We got in to go down into the aqueducts or whatever.
The pleasure
And, like,
gardens.
Yeah, there was the chest there, and like we all went to it, and like no one got anything
It was
from
just
it.
empty.
It was just empty. Like the glimmer was there and it disappeared, but no one got any loot like in their side.
Yeah.
We're like, is that bugs or
Everyone
like,
was like, "Wait, did you get something?" Like we're all asking each other, "Did you get it?" It's like, "I don't think I got anything."
Like, if
Is it
that's
in your
the-
inventory?
Yeah, if that's
I
the
started like
only
running
thing you're
down the
gonna
ramp
get-
to ensure like the Ingram didn't roll. Like,
Yeah.
okay, let me go run down and see if it's down here.
If that's the only thing you're going to get out of a chest, why have a chest? That's
Why
just like
have
a,
it?
I
Yeah,
killed an
yeah.
enemy.
Just give me
reward.
loot. Just give me glimmer.
Yeah, just have Glimmer show up whenever you. Like,
Not even tokens.
Yeah, nothing. That was.
Yeah.
I don't know. There was just a lot like, and 99% of it. We just talked for 20 minutes, half hour about how great the raid was, and this isn't like. I'm not saying it was bad, but like there were just some really odd design choices with it, and
Yeah.
not like physical design, but like the way they designed loot. Really, like to
The
get
loot
this
is the
stuff.
main complaint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For all we know, maybe those chests are bugged, and maybe they actually have to redo that.
It's true.
Yeah.
But if that was how they
Yeah,
like
I just-
wanted it, then
Yeah.
that's
Dumb.
yeah.
I mean, have you
It should
ever
just be-
opened a chest in
It's just so
anything,
anticlimactic. To
Yeah.
the
I
game.
know, yeah.
any
Yeah,
part
for
of
a
Destiny
chest,
and only
for a
gotten Gomer?
chest, exactly. For a chest in like the EDZ to be better than a chest from the raid, it's like,
Yeah.
wait a minute,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah,
Yeah, at least the ones in the EDZ, even if it's shitty gear, at least you get a weapon part or two.
and a
Or
token.
And a token.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that seemed odd to me. But going back to like the raid armor, that was one thing that, you know, obviously it hasn't been a big deal. We're not excited about it, so I can see why they didn't do it. But of all the things we didn't want them to spoil with the raid, I think I would have liked to have seen some shots of the armor, because that was always one of the things. Oh, I want that Warlock chest piece. Like, I'm going to keep grinding for that chest piece. I don't know what any of it looks like until I see someone with it already.
Yeah.
Like, no one
Same.
knew what it was going to be like. I don't know.
The swag. You get pumped for
Which
the
is-
swag.
And which is crazy that they kind of took that route for the beginning of D2 in not communicating that, because the last kind of content drop for D1 was so focused on
Armor.
the armor of
raid
legacy
armor.
raids,
Yeah.
raid armor. So like they focused this huge, you know, even like the Bungie stream on the raid armor
They had a
and
fashion
showing it
show.
off. Yeah. And then all of a sudden D2 you come into it and there really wasn't any talk or display, or like I was really surprised, like Hope was stating, like the day the raid dropped, I was anticipating like Bungie to like post pictures of like, you know, good luck in there. Here's what you're after. You know, here's what you can go after.
Or
Here's
even
what you're-
just with the teaser, like showing maybe, even if it wasn't a picture of the ship, maybe it was just like your Guardians ready to go and it was a Warlock, a Hunter, and a Titan standing there in full raid gear. And like,
Yeah.
here's the raid. And then you go, oh shit, like look what they look like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one
They
thing
really
I
did
would have
hide
liked
it.
to have seen. You know,
Yeah, they hid like everything about this raid.
which
Yeah.
is good for 99% of it, but I want to know what I'm after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was another thing that was kind of weird too is like, you know, when people post pictures of their final raid like completion and you see they try to like in D1 you would see them all decked out in the shader and like the gear
Yeah.
and the weapon. Like I'd see pictures of people completed the raid and I had to like zoom in and be like, okay, what is from the raid here? I can't really tell, like,
Yeah.
because no one got a lot of stuff,
like
you know?
Right.
I watched when Dado finished, and I think all he had was a chest piece, and he put it on, and then they were taking a picture, and they got all ready, and he was like, "No, hold on, I'm putting this other chest piece back on. Like I got a match. This looks dumb," because he
Yeah.
just had
Yeah.
a chest piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seemed like a curious decision.
I just want to put out there, you said, you know, how we praised it a lot, and we just had this small disappointment thing with the loot, and I want to put out there like this is immediate reactions for a lot of this stuff, and I say that first before saying, because I feel like a little disappointed in the level of difficulty of some of it. Like I feel like, yeah, it's great that it's a raid and it's super hard, but at the same time, like the level, like, and I'm not a PvE player mainly either. Like raids aren't the reason that I got this game. Like I love the Crucible is like one of the main things that I love about the game. And so
Yeah.
like, I'm not the direct audience for the raid to begin with, but for me, it's like, I like a mix of, like not being super hard so that I can go in there and have a good time in a reasonable amount of time and get out and be like, oh, I did that this week. Yeah, that was awesome. But if it takes me that long every time, you know, and so that's another thing where it's like going to take time to really see what I think. But just initially I'm like, wow, this is really difficult for the teams that I was playing. Not just you guys, but just the different teams that I
We let
played
you
with.
down. I know.
Not y'all. I'm saying just in general, like it was a difficult raid, and I'm curious to see if this is the kind of raid that is always kind of difficult for an average group of people, or is it
Yeah.
going to get significantly easier over
Yeah.
time?
Well, I mean, I
That's a
think
good
to a point it'll start to get easier just because of light level and such, even though that wasn't for most of the raid the big factor. But I think it's really a good type of raid to have been very difficult at the beginning, but to get easier as we learn it, because the big thing was the mechanics, the teamwork, that kind of thing. But it wasn't like I said earlier, it wasn't forced onto you like Oryx was. You can get better at this once you learn it, and everyone in your raid team knows it.
The one thing about the Oryx comparison that I wanted to throw out there, and probably the main part of the disappointment that I feel, is that it's so heavy on absolutely everyone staying alive. Is particularly on the, you know, the gardens, obviously, like like if somebody messes up, it kind of messes up everything. I guess you can revive a little bit on that one, but particularly the last encounter, like if somebody messes up, like calling out something or somebody dies, man, you know what I'm talking about. Like it's over. Yeah. Like if one person says a word wrong or somebody slips, it like hits a bump in a platform when you're in the, I don't even know what to call the otherworldly place.
Yeah, I have no idea what that is.
Then it's over, you know, like just one thing
really
will mess up everything.
And you have a limited, I think each of us only has one revive token as well. So you cannot die a lot either. Like they're actually making you stay alive during all that. Well, at least as much as possible.
I'd be curious to see what the prestige is going to be though, because of like if it's similar like hard mode for D1 where like no death is allowed. I'd be curious to see like if one person dies, do you have that 30-second countdown and then it's the wipe like automatically like it was for the normal?
Oh,
that's gonna be.
I'm curious too. Didn't they say they didn't want that to be the differentiator? That it wasn't going to just be, hey, no revives. Didn't they?
Yeah,
say that
no, I read that too, and so I'm curious what it's going to be. My main point about that last encounter was you can't even really revive. Like if somebody messes up in that area, it doesn't even matter. You're just over.
Right.
Like and so
we're also 2 days in.
Yeah, I know. Sure. And that was my point before I said any of this. I just wanted to preface with, this is initial impressions. This could get so much easier.
There's going to be strategies coming out there that'll probably, like, we were talking about that as we were in the Pleasure Gardens. It's like, we're talking about how tough it is. And then we're like, there's probably going to be these PvE gods that are going to come out with, like, easy strats, that should make it easier.
Yeah.
So as of right now, it makes me feel like if you're trying to be a Sherpa for the raids, that this is going to be super hard.
Yeah.
But down the road, it could get simple.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's going to be a good one for people who stream raid helps because it is so teamwork based that you're always going to be teaching someone as opposed to just, hey, we're going to do all of this. You just stand in this spot and then shoot that guy when this thing happens. You know, they're going to have to teach everybody to do the thing.
Yeah.
Which really I think will be really cool. Games. It'll be harder, you're right. But I think it's the kind of thing that'll let people who've experienced it get better at it, get more efficient, make it easier, but it's going to allow the replayability of raid helps.
Yeah. Good point.
Well, speaking of raid helps, our clan got some help from Mana and them who actually finished the raid because we all got rewards for that, which was crazy, picking up our clan rewards for Mana completing the raid.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that was a thing. Honestly, I didn't even think of that. And then DJ tagged us. He's like, "Yo, I got my raid completion engram thingy." I'm just like, "Huh?"
Wait, what?
And I didn't realize. I went back to was it Hawthorne that you go to collect that stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went there, got the scout rifle, didn't even realize what it was for, and then I was going through my inventory. I'm like, "Oh, I got the raid scout rifle." Didn't even know that, but it was at 10 light. I was like, "What?" So that's when I tweeted it last night. I was like, I got this, but it was only 10 light. What? And then I found out Poe Bear tweeted out like, "Oh, you get it at 10 light." I was like, that makes so much sense now. I got it from her. I was so sad but pumped at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a pretty disputed topic. I wanted to see with you guys because some people on the internet have exploded about this a little bit. Like, what, these people didn't even finish the raid and they're getting it. So what do y'all think about it?
But I like it because some people don't have the time. They have full-time jobs and all that. They don't get a lot of time to play the game. For them to get at least something from the raid per weekly, I think that's pretty nice because you get the weapon, but it doesn't give you the light level that it can come with,
Yeah.
So it drops at 10, you have to infuse it to whatever you're at right now with whatever you have. Because when we get it during the raid, when we're actually working towards it, we can potentially get it at 300 light. 290 300 light. So I think that's a good trade-off right there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I like it because it's not like I'm like, oh yeah, that's great, but I guess I'm just kind of indifferent. I don't that's cool. If they want to give it to them, or us, me right now, that's the only, well, no, I did get the submachine gun, but if I go in there and I have some sort of raid loot, that's cool. Does somebody else getting it at 10 light affect me in any way, shape, or form? Nope. So I don't care. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't.
I think I was reading like I think we probably read the same couple posts today.
Yeah.
But like one of my like it fits the mantra of what Bungie laid out for what they want Destiny 2 to be. And they wanted it to be this activity or the game that brings this community together. And they put such a huge focus on clans, and they put all this effort and dedication and programming into making clans a kind of a centerpiece of what this game is meant to be.
Very much so.
Uh-huh.
So for them to do that, I had to bite my tongue so many times today when I was going through and seeing some of these posts go through, because I was like, it's not worth it to get it on Twitter, especially when I'm at work, because then I'm in the middle of meetings, like trying to hit.
Yeah.
But it was just like you sit there and you think it's the clan kind of earned it together in a sense that maybe we didn't complete the raid with that group, but at some point in time, throughout this week, we've all done public events. We've been grinding. We've been trying to level characters. We've been doing strikes, doing the nightfall, doing these things. Like we've worked together as a group to get to the point where we can enter this raid and be competitive with it. So it's cool for them to say, you know what, someone in your clan or your clan completed this. Here's kind of your token for assisting in some way, shape, or form them to be able to get in there and do that.
Yeah.
And I think that's a cool part that Bungie put in that I'm all for 100%.
That's really cool. What I was thinking about that with the clans and what Bungie has designed it for, and one of like Hove, I'm with you. Some of the time I'm like, I'm neutral about it. I it's fine. That's cool. I got a piece of loot. But then I think about the clan factor and what Bungie intended it for. And that kind of pushes me over the edge of this is really cool that they're doing this because of everything Sweep just said. And also because it kind of brings diversity to your clan whenever you have a raid package for the week and a Trials of Osiris package for the week. Because we're a big clan, so obviously we're going to hit these things a lot quicker, or maybe, more consistently every week. But for smaller clans, like if you have, let's say, 10 to 15 people in your clan and you have maybe 5 of them that like Trials of Osiris, or Trials of the Nine, as we're going to talk about, and 10 of them that like raiding, then the raiders will bring what they bring to the table, and the people who do trials will bring what they do to the table, and you'll get those different engrams per week, which I think is going to be pretty awesome to have clans bring their own different part of the game to their clan.
I kind of wish. I was going to say, when you go to the clan tab, you see what has been done already. I kind of wish it would have showed you, because there's also a roster right there, right?
Yeah.
It's been a little buggy for me in the past, couple days and all that. But I kind of wish you could see who has actually, like, maybe a little icon popping up, like on their name or something, to show you who has actually completed what. So you actually go in and message them and be like, hey, I see you haven't done like such and such. We want to hook up.
That would be cool.
I think that would be even better.
That'd be awesome.
That would be cool.
It's funny that you guys just used the like heavy clan integration to argue for that, like the clan rewards. Because that would be the one thing that makes me think, like, why did they bother with this, getting the loot at 10 light for not doing the raid? Because if they're pushing clans so hard that everybody's included and you have guided games and everyone can get into the raid, I just feel like one or the other was a solution to people not being able to do the raid as much because they don't have groups. And it's like they went both ways. If you're making clans this centerpiece and get in a clan, and you can do, and even if you're not, you can do guided games with clans, and it's going to allow you access to all these events that you didn't have access to before. You're going to get the loot from that. It just seems kind of like, did they really need to do that if they're pushing for everyone to do clans so hard? Isn't that just kind of I don't think people would take advantage of it, but it's just kind of well, what do I need to? I don't need to do any of this stuff. I just joined a clan and I'm going to get it.
I see what you're saying, but there's also the other side of it where there's still stuff you're not getting, which is light level, which I understand you get that from other places, but there's shaders specifically from the raid that you can only get there. Like, you're not going to get that from a legendary engram, and there's like exotic. I think there's an exotic and that quest too that shows up once you complete
the weapon quest.
And you just get stuff faster, that way.
Absolutely.
And so,
it's just funny that they kind of did both.
I get what you're saying, yeah.
And I think their way of, I don't know, maybe but like I think that's a way for them kind of to entice people that maybe aren't interested or maybe don't think that they're ready for the raid or don't feel as though like, oh, maybe I'll get it a couple weeks from now. I think this is their way of being like, here, look at this cool loot you can get, or you know, we're gonna give you at 10 light level, and we're gonna kind of get you enticed to kind of hop into the raid and to, you know, get with your team, get with your clan, get with your friends, and go on and join.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I see what you're saying though. I see both sides.
Do you think that it's only weapons? Because all of us, everything I've seen on the internet and from us has just been weapons from that engram.
Yeah, I haven't seen any armor.
I haven't seen any armor.
Yeah, people actually tweet at me this morning. Is like, could you get armor from that? I'm just like, I'm guessing, but I don't actually know.
Yeah,
Maybe
that would
not.
be interesting if not.
Going back, do you know what would actually make that seem more of a good idea? If you got this one piece, possibly per week for your clan doing it, but if you were showered with loot in the raid, that would be more like Sweep was saying, like, hey, you get this one piece at 10 light.
I agree.
If you go do it yourself, you get all this cool stuff high light. And we had a big discussion about how the loot was underwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mana got the same amount of stuff as the rest of the the rest of the clan got one thing from the engram, and he got one thing from the raid.
Yeah, I only got one weapon from the raid, and it was the pulse rifle, and then I got the scout from the engram. But other than that, I did get the cape twice. It was kind of sad.
And which is crazy because like if you think about like if you go back to like Taken King, like King's Fall, I remember like doing the raid the first time, and people were leaving with like, "Hey man, I got the helmet, the chest, the arms, and the scout rifle."
I think I raided with someone once that came out almost fully decked in raid armor. I was like, "What?
Yeah,
how? Like, who are you buddies with?"
You were guaranteed an armor drop from those first. You know, there was set loot per chest.
Yeah.
You would know like, oh, this is the chest, the arms, or the scout rifle. Okay, great.
Yeah,
I think that was kind of.
I think that would make your point. And it has nothing to do with the fact that you made the point. But it would make what you were saying from their point of view even stronger. Like, hey, you get this one piece of thing at 10 light. If you go do the raid, you have the chance at all this stuff.
Yeah.
But in this case, it's, hey, you can be like Mana and finish the whole raid, and you get this one piece. Yeah. Or you can be like me, and even though I did attempt the raid, and I still got this one piece. So, I don't know. It's just, they're all good ideas. They just seem to contradict each other to a point. They don't seem as well put together. There isn't as much synergy as I think I would like between all the new things.
Good word.
That was hot.
I like it.
It's good. Yeah.
I wonder if and I wonder if it's going to be the same kind of where similar kind of like with this guy, because obviously there's a tab in the clan thing for trials as well. And you start wondering, like, hey, is it going to be kind of like, oh, you get the blind perdition, or you get the adept, obviously, if you go to Lighthouse. So is it going to be the same type style where it's like everyone in the raid's going to get a token for the non-adept version type style of weapon?
Interesting, yeah.
I'll be interested to see how it plays out tomorrow, because obviously we'll get the engram tomorrow. Someone in our God help us is going to go.
Oh, we're probably going to go hard.
Yeah. Even that though, like, if you're someone who they're working to entice to do these things because you don't normally do them, is the fact that it's adept really going to drive you to do it? If you're someone, like, all of us want to do it, so it's harder to say.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I don't really, for the raid, for prestige mode, if you get something adept, like, I don't really personally have the drive to go do that necessarily. So, like, I do want to, but not as much as I think other people do, and it might take me a while.
And I'm talking about people who we're talking about someone who may not do a raid or may not do trials, and we're trying to entice them into doing it. If you're going to give them weapon A, and for doing it they get weapon A with snapshot, those people aren't going to care that much. They weren't going to do it anyway. You gave them 99% of what they couldn't get before.
I just feel like if you're in a clan that's big enough that they do a raid together, like have a, that they would invite their friends in the clan to do it with them anyway. Like they would push them to want to do it with them. I don't know.
I came into this with it's cool. I don't really care, but like I'm cool with it. And you guys, like, with your arguments for it, have made me like more against
it.
Yeah. I think.
I
yeah.
still think, like, for some reason, when I thought of the, like, kind of my justification as to why I'm pro for it, it's something that I can just hear Deej saying, like, in a Bungie stream or whatever, being like, your clan was able to participate and to compete in those events based on your guys' activity and support of each other throughout the week leading up to it. And I think that that's where Bungie's I think is gonna kind of plant their flag and saying, you guys were able to hop into the raid, you guys were able to compete, you guys were able to strategize because you worked together as a group, for the whole week, and not just during the raid. So I think that's why they're rewarding the whole team with something.
I do like the team-based stuff,
Yeah.
period. Like, it feels good.
It's just, I don't know, the fact that it's like end game stuff that you shouldn't be able to get from that. And I'm not against it in the sense that those people don't deserve it. I'm not like that, but it just seems pointless to me.
No, I'm glad to have the other side, to have both sides here on the podcast, like talking about each side of it. No, never. We never do that.
But think about it, and maybe like when hard mode comes out, they'll have a completely different like set of weapons and armor. Maybe like the engram will only give you normal mode stuff.
I was just about to say, yeah. So here's the normal kind of get your mouth wet, and then we can go to prestige mode where this is what you got to earn now.
Nice.
I think that'd be a better way of doing things if they did it.
And see that kind of like going back to the synergy. I think that kind of fits like slightly different aspect to this topic, but the whole guided games only being in normal mode. It's kind of the enticing thing. You go into guided games if you don't have a group, you either get a raid group or at least learn how to do it, and then you're able to do prestige mode.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And those two work really well together, as opposed to, like we said, it just seems odd with the way they're doing, hey, get in a clan and do all these activities. Also, hey, get in a clan and you don't have to do any of the activities and still get the stuff. They just seem to contradict each other.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to talking about some new activities that are happening tomorrow that they talked about in the TWAB and gave us a preview for. We've got Trials of the Nine and Xur coming tomorrow, which is very appropriate for both those things to come on the same day. Are you guys excited about this? You gonna be playing it? What are you guys expecting for what it's gonna be like? Any thoughts?
Oh boy, I don't know.
I mean, particularly, I'm curious, Xur, is he going to be selling stuff for legendary marks?
I don't care about old tentacle face.
You don't care at all? I'm just curious, like, what is he going to be selling? Because that Xur was a big conflicting thing in D1, like selling exotics. Did you Xur it,
All right, Wilson.
There's a part of me, as much as I'm probably going to regret saying this as soon as, you start decrypting, I hope that he doesn't come out of the gate with actual exotics. Ready for sale.
Actually,
I hope that he comes out with exotic engrams that you can purchase, and you got to go decrypt them, and it's kind of an RNG type base. And like I said, I'll probably regret saying it because I'll probably get 3 crests of Alpha Lupe for my first, whatever. But I just hope, because it just seems like it depletes the exotic hunt so quickly.
Same.
Yeah.
I hope that there is just. Well, I guess I was watching a. This may have been in the TWAP or whatever and other things, but I was watching, I think it was More Console or someone, and they said that Xur and like the strange coins are coming back, but instead of turning those in for things, that Xur will also be taking legendary shards for currency as well. But yeah, I too hope that you don't just go in and buy something really great, like an exotic weapon right there.
Yeah.
Every week. I hope that's not a recurring thing like in D1, because like you said, that just kind of the excitement for getting exotics just goes downhill when everyone is getting these nice looking weapons. I hope too that maybe there's only, if there's any exotics, that there are engrams, and I hope there's actually a cap on how many you can buy per week.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, that'd be good too.
Quickly on a tangent to that, do you guys prefer the current system of getting legendary engrams to drop and going and decrypting them, or would you rather they just dropped legendary exotic engrams to drop and then go decrypting them, or would you rather like D1 Like you're in the midst of it, you just killed something. Oh my god, I got Gallarhorn. As opposed to, okay, let's go back to the tower. Let me see what I got. Oh, and it's still exciting to get it, but I think I liked it better when things would drop.
For exotics.
Exotics.
Or exotics?
Exotics.
Yeah,
Exotics,
I think I did. I think I did like that more, actually, now that I think of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Legendary, I would get tired of.
Right.
having,
Yeah,
like,
no, Legendary, I just misspoke at first, but like,
Yeah.
you know, Lego, I know you were a big proponent for exotics dropping in the wild, and yeah,
I
they
am.
still do kind of, but you like, you know you have it, and then you have to go decrypt it.
It takes away the shock factor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say this. I'm not disappointed right now in the game with the way they're dropping them because they're pretty rare for me. Like I know other people have had really good luck with getting them, but when I finish a Crucible match and I get a legendary and an exotic in the same game, I'm like, yo, I just got an exotic.
What if it was a legendary engram and the exotic gun you've been waiting for?
Exactly. Now that you've said it, I'm
Yeah.
like, I like that a lot more. I wish it was that, you know?
Yeah, you do.
The one thing with if Xur sold exotic engrams, I would definitely want it to have a cap the way what you guys said, because otherwise if you like even just one or something like that, I don't know, because if Xur comes and you could just like spam, you know, like you could in D1, just buy
Just
all the
save up.
engrams and then just open them all up, have a opening party, like
Yeah.
that ruins it because you just get everything, you know.
Especially if that's the thing that you can use the legendary marks on, because I know
Yes,
people with
exactly.
a lot of legendary marks already. Like
Mhm.
me, I've been kind of hoarding everything. Actually, my vault is half full already because I've been hoarding
Same.
so many
Yep.
different weapons. I want to go into PvP and like try all
Yeah.
these things out.
Well, that's what I did today. I just saw King Koala put out a time to kill spreadsheet on the Crucible playbook, and so I was looking through that. I was like, okay, what's the fastest gun to kill all these guns in my vault? Which ones are like the primary ones I want to be using?
See, part of me says, man, with all these changes and all the things we've asked for that have happened and whatever else that Bungie's done, they're too smart to not put some kind of cap on it, because then you just blow through the game, you get everything. But then the other side of me says they want to make this so accessible for a casual player.
Yeah.
But
they just
go ahead. I don't mean to keep talking at the same time as you.
go for it. I'm
Go.
used to it. Go. Just go.
I'm not
Sweep,
going.
a podcast boss says sweep goes.
I was just kind of expounding off what you said in terms of what the steps that Bungie has taken to kind of prevent this, the ability to kind of level up quicker or to hoard or to like look at the idea that the legendary engrams drop at the light level. So you're best off to just go decrypt it immediately. And it's not going to get you past even if you level up later. The idea that you can't infuse Titan armor into Warlock armor to level your character faster. Like they've done all these steps to prevent you from almost kind of speeding through the content or hitting these caps. That I agree with you. I think that they've almost put too much thought into it to not put a cap on exotics.
Yeah, and then the second half of what I was going to say to the fear of them trying to make it accessible for everyone is maybe that's why exotics can drop from damn near anything now.
True.
Even though I would still like it to be a drop and not an engram, but you know, now they can drop from so many places.
I do like that.
Is that the mechanic that lets them open it up to more people, as opposed to, hey, hit the exotic chest in the 2 raids this week, make sure you finish, you know, the trials,
Yeah,
and
because you
do
can get it
whatever.
from anything pretty much now. Public event, Crucible.
Mm-hmm.
So
What I like about that is that not that it makes it accessible to everyone, but that it makes enjoying the content more. Like I can go play what I want to play because anything that I do could help me.
correct, which is awesome.
Here's
I
a
love
thought
that.
that I'm not sure about. Talking about exotic engrams and stuff like that. You know how every raid, I think every raid had like an exotic weapon drop at the end?
Mm-hmm.
Is the quest you get from the raid finish, is that an exotic or just legendary? Because none of us got exotics anything from the raid. Or are they saving it for... Because I know people have already completed that quest. I just haven't viewed anything about it yet.
It's exotic.
Is it exotic? All right, so that just answered it then, because like none of us got an exotic drop, and we're all like, eh? Like, is it just bad RNG? Or
There is an exotic chest in the bottom of the Leviathan, like in somewhere in there. I read that there is one that has a chance to give you an exotic.
I read there was another chest in the Vault of Glass.
It's true.
Don't believe everything
That's-
you read on the internet.
That's true.
I'm just kidding.
I honestly hope there is still a hidden chest.
I know that would be amazing.
We'll figure it out in like Destiny 3. You know,
There's like a teleport in like Destiny 2 in the third raid that brings you back to the Vault of Glass, and the other chest is there.
It would be the most mind-blowing thing ever,
sounds
honestly, if they did that.
I would love that.
But, I
that'd be
think
awesome.
after the raid, I don't think there's too much to do to get it. I think you just go run a strike or something, and you get that exotic.
We'll have to examine Mana's inventory after this.
I'm gonna examine.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go and
What
I'm gonna have to go and finish the quest. It seems.
Yeah, it's. Do you not want to know what it is?
Is it a shotgun?
It's I think I was about to say I heard.
I think it's a shotgun.
Yeah.
And all I know is it has one perk. That is it. There's no tree.
That's it.
There's just a perk.
Honestly, that's how all of the exotics should be, because you don't have options. They just are already selected.
Yeah,
so
that makes me really mad quickly. That like Mida has hand-laid stock. No, it fucking doesn't. That's the only stability I have a choice of. It does not have fucking hand-laid stock.
Why even have a category there?
Yeah. But no, and it's a shotgun, and the range bar is 100% filled.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
It's called. It's now I'm vomiting at the mouth, diarrhea of the mouth, whatever they call it. It's called Acreus something, and it shoots like arc projectiles or something.
Yeah. And the range is ridiculous. I watched some video of it today in PvP, and the range is insane.
That's awesome. It sounds like it's the one that looks like a fusion shotgun. Yeah, I saw it in the PvP trailer. I was so excited for it.
It's
it looks
also,
awesome.
Do you remember when Zavala's storming, when they have that cutscene, and he grabs that Cabal and like knees the shotgun up into his face? That's pretty much it. That's what it looks like.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go and finish that quest now.
Do it, Mana. Do it.
Mana's in game right now.
He was playing.
No.
I had some idea for Trials of the Nine I was thinking about, but I can't remember. Okay, I got it. Because we hadn't really talked much about Trials of the Nine yet. But one thing I was thinking about, with the way that the raid has implemented tokens to go to a vendor, like I don't really understand the point of that for the raid system. But for Trials of the Nine, it makes sense to me if they implemented a similar system so that people don't. Because my big problem with D1 Trials was that people would quit once they had a single loss on their card, and then they would start over, and it kind of screws up the system and makes it really, really hard when you get to 9 wins, because everybody is, deleting when they have one loss. I
do think they're going back to strictly connection based though, not wins anymore.
Yeah. But just saying, like, I hate the system of people throwing away their cards once they have a single loss. And so I was thinking, like, what if they implemented tokens and more tokens for making it to 9 wins or something like that? And so that way it incentivizes not throwing away your card. You're like, oh, but we could still make it to 9 and get these tokens and go buy this thing, even though we don't get to the final flawless.
That's a good point.
I think I'm really excited to see what they do. Because it's obviously, we know how it's going to work, that it's going to be countdown, and it's going to be, we know the map, and we assume it's going to be some sort of, it's still Trials of, it's Trials of the Nine now, but so there's going to be some sort of like gauntlet to run or something like that.
Eternity is the map?
I don't even know what that is.
I don't even know what that is.
Isn't that the one that
new one?
The one that is kind of burning shrines-ish? Is that not the one?
I don't know.
I honestly don't know I feel like I should remember at least one name to one map, since I've been playing a lot of PvP.
I know Vostok
already.
Go ahead and finish your thought, Hove.
The thing that almost, I don't want to say worries me, but like if it's going to be that drastically different of a system, that now that it's, Spiffy said that's Altar of Flame.
Oh, right.
That it's going to be that different, that it's not going to be, you get a card, you do 9 wins, blah, 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 blah. It just worries me that they haven't talked about it at all. It's going to drop tomorrow and no one has said, this is how this works. This is what you need to do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if it's going to be that big of a change, I think it is, but like, I don't know.
I don't think it's going to be huge, because they said, specifically Bungie said, It's not. We've tweaked some things about it, but it's going to be Trials of Osiris basically.
Well, then why isn't it just Trials of Osiris?
I think there's a lore reason why. And maybe
the 9
we'll
were just like, hey, we're gonna just do this for you, Osiris. Cool, got it.
It could just be, hey, we want to use Osiris in this DLC, so we're not doing Trials of Osiris anymore.
Right.
Before the raid comes back.
I don't know. I hope it's different. I don't mean like drastically different, but I hope it's not just get a card, get to 9 flawless, prosper. Like I want it to have something different. And actually, that brings me to kind of a cool point. If there is something like flawless or whatever, is there gonna be another new social space?
I'm curious. I kind of hope it's
even if it's not social like the lighthouse. Remember how the lighthouse you couldn't go there, but it was a new space.
I do hope for a new social space, period. I don't want it to be social again like it was before, because that was just so special going to the lighthouse when nobody else was there. The chest isn't open yet, but nowadays you go there and the chest is already open. There's people teabagging you as you walk up.
My chest.
Like people are there. Chest. People are there AFK with the chest already.
Right?
You're like, who are you? Well, this is my chest. Get out of here.
I'm gonna take my screenshot.
Maybe they'll have like a bigger place and multiple chests that like yours, the one you earned, is over here. You know, and you're the one that you earned and are there with them. Like they don't see that. You have to travel to a different place. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Sweet. What were you saying?
What if we just end up on the farm?
We go back to the farm.
Like that's where the chest is at because no one's there. So like
we're fighting over special fertilizer so we can grow.
Speaking of that, I hope that the 9 or whatever ends up happening is back at the farm to start trials because somebody needs to have a reason to go back to the farm.
Yeah, actually. Agreed. I haven't been there in so long now that I think of it. I forgot the farm was a thing.
Yeah.
Tyra's still there.
It's still there.
Tyra Banks. I'd go see Tyra Banks at a farm. But no, I think it's going to be cool, and I'm definitely excited for it, and I can't wait to play it. I just hope that it just doesn't feel recycled, and it's different enough that it feels fresh. And not just fresh because it's a different game mode.
At the same time, though, I don't want... So there's a couple of things that'll make it feel fresh. One, it's Countdown and Survival are the ones that are going to be alternating out, I guess, throughout the future. And Survival felt awesome whenever I played it. We had a Survival round where me and you were playing Hove. I can't remember who all we were playing with, but it went to where I was the last man standing, and there were still 3 people left, and I had my super and ended up winning. But it was like my heart was beating so fast. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm the only life left." It felt like that feeling that you got in Trials when you're the last man standing, and it just made me so excited for actually playing the new version of Trials. Even if it's the same, we're having 2 different modes. You alternate now. There's just a lot of little changes,
Mm-hmm.
I do like it. I definitely like that, but don't you think that came from the fact that you were playing for something? Like, just doing it just to do it isn't going to be as exciting for as long.
Well,
I think because Trials was when it came out, it was this brand new, innovative thing, and that's what kept it around for so long and made it so cool. And if they just bank on that for another lifespan of a game, I'll be really disappointed.
But don't you not want them to like mess it up by trying to add a bunch of new stuff to it too? Like I'm fine with adding new layers of it to get rewarded and stuff like that, but I don't want to change the going.
It's not the same thing. It should change.
I guess you have a point. Like you're right.
Just make it Trials of Osiris again.
Nah, I don't know. I don't agree with that because to me, it's like it's a lore reason they're changing it, not necessarily an activity reason.
Yeah, but if you make it a lore reason just to change the name of it, then it really wasn't a lore reason. It was a let's make up some lore to figure out why we can't do it as Trials of Osiris because we want to have Osiris later.
I mean, and I'm fine with that. That's all I'm saying. I have the other side.
I wouldn't be okay with that.
Where do you guys fall in this, Sweet Mana? Do y'all want Trials to be that much different, or do you like it the way that it is?
I'm conflicted. A part of me used to love Trials, like a lot. Like I used to play Trials over anything until the metas just made it stale. But then, like Hove said, like I do kind of want something else involved. So I'm truly conflicted right now. I don't know.
And that's being greedy on my part because I want something that feels as different and as fresh and as exciting as Trials of Osiris did, and that was its own thing.
Like having 4v4 instead of 3v3, like that kind of change.
Really, if that's a big change, I'm out.
It feels huge. Destiny 2 feels like a completely different game than D1. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but No, not for trials.
Sweep, what do you think?
I'm kind of in the same boat as Mana. Like, there's parts of me, and I kind of want to piece some of what you said. Like, it was like the fundamental, like, foundational structure of what Trials was is something that I still want them to remain intact to a certain extent. You know, this idea that you're trying to earn wins to get to this completion of something.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a cool part of Trials that I don't think still to this day, as much as like Mana, you mentioned, you know, some of the metas and stuff made Trials get old. And I 100% agree. But that foundational structure was still there. Like, you know, you're still fighting for something. And that was, you know, to hit a certain goal. I want that to be there. Now, whether it's the same type of goal, I could, you know, maybe some refresh, maybe something new. Potentially, like you had stated, though, some of the loot system or how you're motivated to keep playing on the same card if it is a card, or, you know, trying to at least engage the audience to, you know, keep fighting through, as opposed to, oh, we get a loss, back out, let's, you know, reset, wipe, and start over. I think I want it to stay foundationally to a certain extent the same, from the, you know, 9 wins, or, you know, you're kind of fighting for something, but how you get there and what happens along the way, I'm open to change.
Yeah, and I want to emphasize too, Hove, that I'm with Sweep on that. Like, the foundational thing of like trying to get so many wins towards something. That's what I'm mainly about. Like that stressful feeling of being on board with winning.
That's what I'm saying. I want that, and that was my point when you said, like, when we were playing Countdown or Survival the other day, and it was so exciting. It's not going to be as exciting if there isn't something that you're playing for, and that's what I was saying. Like Trials. That's what made it that exciting.
Yes.
And that's why I said, like, I guess that's me being greedy, because I want it to be different. I want them to have innovated and do something different, like they did with Trials. That was so different. But I want it to, you know, I still want it to feel like
something's on the line.
Exactly. Yeah. I would be really disappointed if they just said, "Oh, we have Trials the 9 all new. You go to the 9 and you get this card and you get boons and you get to 9 wins and it's flawless. But we're going to call it Trials the 9 and make it 4v4.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that disappoint you if it was the exact same format?
I kind of don't want boons to be a thing, honestly.
Yeah, I mean,
like that kind of stuff.
But you know what I mean? If it was the same, buy this card, 9 wins, 3 losses, flawless, go to a special place. What changed?
Yeah. I mean, I disagree to an extent. As long as if like the places and the format is completely different, I think that's where we disagree. Is I'm like okay with the system, you know, as long as there's small changes and improvements on the way that we play, like the problems that we have with Trials are mostly gone, and instead like we get a whole new, you know, maybe it's not a social space, maybe the end is something different, you know, that we don't know, and Bungie has been creative with something. But if it is a new social space, that's great, because with the way, something that I didn't get to say earlier is, you know, the way that they've made the raid like be its own. We were like, man, this is a whole space just dedicated to the raid. Like, if they did that just for the raid, I wonder if they'll do the same for whatever the lighthouse is in this one. Maybe it's not the lighthouse, maybe it's a whole section of some planet that you get to go to that nobody else does unless you do that thing.
Like, how cool would it be if, as you're moving along through, let's say it is 9, hypothetically speaking, games, wouldn't it be cool, like you said, if you got some sort of currency token, whatever, and all of a sudden the space loads in, there's, you know, 3 or 4 different vendors that you can go to, and they take different currency across the way, and you can buy, you know, shaders, you can buy armor or weapons, you can buy consumables for something else dealing with PvP, or like just something that is different that would at least encourage you at some point along the way to kind of be like, you know what, we lost 2 games, but I can still, if I finish this out, I'm going to go to the lighthouse and get these shaders, or I'm going to go to whatever and get this consumable for potential drop of exotic higher in PvP for 2 hours or something like that. Like, just something different that would at least encourage people to continue to play.
Yeah.
And like I said, that's something different. I just don't want Trials of Osiris with a different name because it's 4v4 and we got a different character giving us this thing.
I see what you're saying.
That would feel very lazy, and it would feel like a reskin. And we complain about reskins of everything all the time, and that would literally just be, hey, we changed the name because we have 4v4 now and don't want to use Osiris. That would feel disappointing to me.
I gotcha.
But I absolutely want to keep the something's on the line. You're playing for something. You have to build to something. that is, what was exciting about Trials. It wasn't the fact that it was 3v3 or that it was, you know what I mean? It was getting to something.
I think we're all on the same page with that.
I'm just more adamant.
If it ends up being a reshade, I just want to be online with you at the time that you find out.
Yes, me too.
Well,
I want to hear how angry you are.
If it is exactly what I'm saying, I won't. I will be pissed, and I will still play the shit out of it. I'm still gonna enjoy it, but I'll just be pissed that they've done.
Let's be so grumpy the whole time.
They did so many things, like Lego. Kind of to your point, they made this huge raid space, but all we did was reskin the name of Trials.
I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
We'll find out tomorrow.
I will be at work when it happens, so check my Twitter around 1 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah,
that's Hove76 on Twitter. Everyone listening. There's a few other things in the club.
It's the same.
If it says motherfucker, I'm pissed. If it says fuck yes, we're good.
All right.
So some other things here. One thing that is awesome, 1.3 million people playing Destiny at once this week, and that was cool to see those numbers, just to see how many people were playing together online at the exact same time. I just want to throw that out there here because it was exciting to me.
That's awesome.
But there are Crucible changes that they say are coming, which is impressive of itself for me. Just week one for them to be like, hey, we look this week, here are these changes, and the changes that they're making are quick play stays the same. They think it's great, which is a relief for me to hear because I've been loving quick play. It's like my favorite right now. And competitive, they said, is not matching as close to skill level as they would like, and so they're going to be adjusting that. So basically, if you're getting beat a whole lot, you won't get beat as bad and you will win some. And if you have been winning a ton and it's been just so easy that it's competitive is going to be a little harder for you, basically. So I think that's great. It's cool.
Yeah. I like it.
I just hope that's not their full solution to people leaving. Hey, let's make it closer so people don't leave.
For real, we should. Yeah, that is a big complaint. That's probably like my number one Crucible complaint is people leaving, because I would actually go into competitive if I wasn't afraid of people leaving.
Yeah, it's just like it's almost funner to stream or just in generally just play quick play, just because if people do quit out, at least you get someone else in,
Correct.
Yeah.
It's not just a slow, because you don't want to quit out in comp too, because a whole, like, if the person's camping or hiding, it's like it's boring, but it's like, we want to win.
Yeah,
we're going to wait this out too. You're not going to make us leave because it's boring. We're going to stay here.
Exactly. Yeah.
The only other thing I don't think we mentioned, new Crucible map from beating the raid.
From the raid. That's exciting.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I actually got to play it a little last night.
Oh, nice.
And it's actually, have you guys tried it out yet?
No, not yet.
It's actually really nice looking. It plays really smooth. Like, what was the Dreadnoughts multiplayer map?
Oh gosh,
Dungeons.
Dungeons.
Everyone I know didn't really like it. I didn't like it too much either. But
I didn't think Dungeons was bad. I thought Cathedral Dusk was bad.
I thought they're both bad. I hate both of them.
Yeah, I kind of dislike both of them, honestly. But this one plays out really well. It's pretty. I've only gotten to play it once, but on that map, it seemed like it was pretty well. What's the word I'm looking for both sides?
Balanced.
Balanced.
Symmetrical.
Yeah, symmetrical. That's it. I think it's pretty symmetrical. I could be wrong because I only played it once, but from what I've seen, it plays out well. It looks nice, and it's I think it's a good addition.
Is it all gold plated like the raid?
Certain areas.
Nice.
There's like vegetation too, like in some places. It's pretty neat.
Sweet. I'm excited to play it, man.
Do you know what would have been really cool? If, since it was completely fresh to everyone as of last night, if they would have made that the first Trials map.
I was thinking
you know what?
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
that would be cool.
Yeah.
that would have, now that I'm thinking, it's like, oh, Bungie, you could have, that was a big opportunity there.
Damn,
everyone would have been like, "What's going on? We don't know the map. We don't know where to go."
I should just work at Bungie.
Yeah, someone hire this man.
Hint, hint.
Oh man,
Just kidding. I'm not smart enough to work at Bungie.
There's something else coming that we didn't talk about last week, but was in the schedule for what is coming. Basically, a week and a half from now ish. So not next week, but the Tuesday after that, we have the factions coming back. They called it Faction Rally on the pictures starting 9/26 on that Tuesday. Faction Rally, which just showed a picture of Dead Orbit, Future War Cult, and New Monarchy. And so none of us know how that's gonna work. Like, do y'all have any ideas, guesses, desires for
Here's
the way?
one thing.
I have lots of desires.
In the tower, in the new tower,
Uh-huh.
or it's called the Traveler or something. Well, you know what I'm talking about. But in the in the crap, I don't remember what it's called. To the right of it, where Kate is, that
hangar?
place. The hangar, yeah,
I
words and
got you.
things.
Got you, fam.
Have you guys found the Dado room, where apparently there might be a fourth faction?
I've heard this rumored faction, but
thought I
I
took
did
you
not
up
see
there.
the room. Do what?
I thought I took you up there.
I don't remember. I don't
There's a
remember.
thing-
You take me a
can
lot of
scan
places.
something.
So.
You can scan a thing on the table.
Anna Bray's
Giggity.
journal. Yeah.
Oh.
Which I couldn't actually read. It wouldn't let me. Like,
Yeah, it was
teasing
bugged.
me. Yeah.
But I don't know if that was on purpose or not, because it
don't
seems
know
just like a
either.
bug, but if you actually get to read it, your ghost just says, "This is the journal of Anna Bray," and then there's like a pause. He says, that's weird. Most of it's redacted, and that's like the end.
Oh,
Huh.
really?
And anything,
Yeah,
like
I don't
anyone who knows anything about movies and the government knows redacted means conspiracy, all right? And Anna Bray, Clovis Bray, research, crazy nonsense. Just saying.
So is it a science faction? That would be awesome.
I don't know.
I'm curious how it's gonna work though, like, because the way that clan rewards have worked, where it's like all of us rallying together, I wonder if there's gonna be something like that for the factions, where even if it's not them competing necessarily, like even if it's just all of Dead Orbit, did this many public events, and so you get this reward
Yeah, I
or
was
something like
thinking
that.
Something like that.
I hope it's
I
like
don't
an interclan war between whoever chooses what.
Well,
Kind of like Pokemon Go type deal. You know,
Yeah.
you get your alliance, and then you can see who's on your team. You're like, okay, we got work for XP because Dead Orbit over there, and they're beating our asses right now.
Yeah, I'm curious who all in our clan will pick what too. Like if there's going to be literally in Resolute a clan war of
yeah.
oh no, we should pick Dead Orbit. No, we should pick New
Well,
Monarchy.
wait. Right now. Go.
Dead
I'll
Orbit.
probably pick Dead Orbit.
Dead Orbit.
Probably New Monarchy.
My man.
Oh wow,
Oh,
we have
50-50.
no
Have you
future
watched?
war.
Have you watched the Titan Bowl New On? Oh, actually, I didn't even do this on purpose, but
Oh, wow, look at
Wearing
it. He's repping
Yes.
already.
Oh my gosh, you have prepared.
Mhm.
Respect.
Yep.
That's amazing.
But that
That's
actually makes me think of something that I meant to mention before when we were talking about the clan stuff. I really wish they would put some kind of like competition in some way with clans, like a clan leaderboard or something like.
Yeah.
That would be really cool.
Clan
Yeah.
rankings, maybe.
It would be hard to do it though, so that it isn't just, hey, we have a whole bunch of people, so we're gonna be at the top. Because to be fair, like we have 98 people that play the game a lot. Doesn't matter that we're good or what we do. We hit that cap like within an hour every reset.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't be fair. They'd have to find out some way to do it. But didn't they talk about clan leaderboards with like Rise of Iron, and it just never happened?
Maybe. I can't really remember.
I think it'd be cool if they had
They did. I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
even like leaderboards within the clan though, like for a
Oh,
weekly
yeah.
basis. Like these people have, top number of strikes completed, top number of nightfalls completed, top number of crucible wins, top number whatever. Like, and it just shows like the individual that has the highest amount or multiple. And that
See,
way
and
it's
I
kind of
thought-
just a challenge with
Yeah. I thought that was coming, like Hove said, they had kind of announced it during Rise of Iron, and it looked like it was coming together, and then they like scrapped all
They
of it.
delayed it and then just never talked about it again.
Yeah, I felt like that was really
It
funny.
was like
I thought,
it was redacted.
I thought that's what was gonna come with the
There was
new
no-
clan page.
Synergy.
Oh, he did it.
I really thought that's what was gonna come. So I'm with you, Sweep. I wish that they were gonna have like that we had some sort of top thing to like either compete for or just to see like, man, that person in the clan's really good at this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if we don't have anything else from the TWAB, we got some community questions, I think.
Yeah,
Maybe
we
we
got a
could
couple.
pull some of those up.
First one from Mr. Gary Diaz.
Gary.
That's he likes to be called Wilson's English Muffin. Little English muffin. So
I
if,
like it.
if you see Gary Diaz around, make sure you call him English
Love
muffin.
Gary.
Why are matches in the competitive playlist so long that I feel like I need a nap and emotional support afterwards, and will it affect trials?
Who's going to answer first?
I think
Man, you're
Sweep
the
should
PvP
answer.
god.
No, that's true.
That is true. I'll give it to Mana.
Oh gosh. So why is it so long? I feel like just because in the beta they're going by super quick, right? So I think they kind of extended it so you could use more, potentially get more kills, have more fun, and use your supers more. But now they didn't think about that people could be quitting and stuff like that. So
yeah.
and they didn't think about, people, there will be teams that play super passive now and stuff like that because they want to win or whatnot. So I think it was a 50-50 on if it's good or bad, but they made a decision upon the beta.
Do you think it's going to affect trials?
I really hope not, but I do feel like there will be camping. There will be frustrations because of people already have the D1 mindset. But hopefully, what's the first game mode? Is it survival?
It's countdown.
It's countdown,
Yeah,
actually.
Countdown?
Yeah.
So that itself right there, one team should only play passive, the defenders, really.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think countdown would be the better mode for competitive like Trials of Osiris because it actually forces people to play the objective.
Well, what happens if nobody,
Yeah.
if the detonating team doesn't set the charges? Does it just go to a timer?
No, it's already on a timer.
Yeah,
Like,
I think
from the get-go.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't just say time's up, you didn't set the charge, right?
I think it does.
Does
Yeah.
it?
Like
It's your
you just
objective.
lose.
I
Yeah.
think it does
Okay.
too.
I
Yeah,
was
like
making-
you have to go
I mean,
there
I
or
could
else
see
you lose
if
that
it
round.
was just if no thing was set, it was just last man standing. Because it's last man standing anyway for the most
Yeah.
part. If it just went to that, I could see teams camping that. But
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna be a thing. I don't think
Good.
that'll happen.
What about
yeah.
survival though?
Survival, I'm afraid.
Survival's gonna be interesting.
it's like
Yeah.
we talked about with Ramblin'. I mean, it could play fast at first because you have so many lives, but once the team's out of lives, it becomes elimination from D1,
Yeah.
which played slow.
Yeah.
So it's going to be longer elimination rounds.
Mm-hmm.
I think honestly, from what I've seen, like if a team gets wiped immediately, already loses 4 lives, they immediately start playing passive,
Yep.
and that's when it kind of. We had we were on a really huge win streak last week. It was Wendler. I can't remember. TV was there for a little bit, but we went on for a while. And the last game, we were going to end it, and I actually almost jinxed us. I was like, "This is where we're going to lose." And the last team we played, it was on the Bellwinter's Peak map,
Oh yeah.
and the team, the whole team had Midas and was chilling in the towers, and just
Oh.
playing tower power, defending it. If they weren't doing that, then they had a power weapon and was creeping in the middle, like in the caves. And we were like, "Oh my goodness, this team right now!"
Yeah.
Like, I'm afraid that could be turning into that.
The one thing with survival that I think continually brings people back together though is that power ammo spawning. Because I noticed when we played survival at least that was one moment where people would clash and kind of force people to come together, especially at the beginning. But yeah, I don't know. That was just something I was thinking about.
Power ammo.
We'll see.
They changed power ammo. There's only one spawn now for
One
competitive?
at the beginning, but I think 2 spawn later from what I
Oh, okay.
noticed.
Yeah, the first spawn is 1.
Oh, okay.
And
I
that's
kinda
probably
wish
the
it was
driving
one-
arrangements
I wish it was one
the whole
continually,
time.
but I
Me
guess
too.
I guess they don't want to do that because if one team gets the sniper rifle ammo and then they're holding the zone with that ammo
Correct,
or
yeah.
whatever, then it spawns again. They just use that ammo to get more
just
ammo.
compounding, yeah.
And you
Mhm.
can't pick it up. It's not like one person could run up, pick it up, and get out of there because you put one shot on them and it resets. You can't pick it up.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you could just watch that one.
Yes. That'd be ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. With survival, I definitely have a fear that the end of rounds are going to just turn into elimination anyway.
Same, yeah.
Because there were some survival rounds, even just playing this last week. I mean, some of the games, if it went to full game, I mean, you're talking 25 minutes
Jeez.
a
That's
game.
so long.
20, 25 minutes a game of just because it can take forever each round. And
Yeah,
if you do-
how many rounds do you have to win again?
It's only 4
Is
for
that 4?
survival, 6 for countdown.
And how many minutes per round potentially
I never paid attention.
Yeah, I never paid attention either.
I
That's why
couldn't, I
like,
couldn't even
yeah.
tell you what they were.
But whatever the
D1.
number is, it's that times, you need 4 wins. So times,
Seven.
yeah. Well, yeah.
Let's say you're gonna get 9. I mean, to do a flawless, if flawless is a thing, hypothetically speaking. But I mean, you're looking at a 2-hour, 2.5 hour card.
Yeah.
mhm.
That's gonna take forever.
Now, to be
Forever.
fair, I think it'll settle into that if it's going to. I think the first week is going to be more
Passive as
fun.
hell. Yeah.
Yeah, who knows though?
Who
I mean,
knows?
like
The
Man
player,
said-
player pool is more full now, so
Well-
I'm just hoping that until people start figuring out, oh, this is how we should or like potentially could play. Hopefully, people just go crazy, and just
True.
have fun.
Yeah, I just hope it's not like you said, man. Like people already have that D1 mindset from Trials of Osiris,
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid
and
of.
if it's very similar to that.
I knew you were gonna get into this again.
Next question.
The way you said Osiris and stared at the camera.
I gotta pull up my pants.
Oh.
They're off already. Okay, I'll get your hopes up.
Jayden asks, for Sweep, why Target? Will he sneeze on the podcast? And what do all of us think about the controller / keyboard and mouse / controller emulation in D2?
Oh gosh.
That one, I hate to
I
do
don't
it to
know
you, but we've talked about it.
Let's not go over that one since we just went over it like last week or 2 weeks ago.
That's
like
what I was
in
trying to
depth.
say before you interrupted me.
I just like doing that every once in a
I
while.
know,
Hove.
no,
Yeah.
it's fine. But no, we've talked about that.
Yeah.
We're already pretty long in the tooth today. Check out our older episodes. This is 51, so there's 50 other ones. Love you, Jayden. But sweet, why Target? And why haven't you sneezed on the podcast?
Well, Target, because it's fantastic. They always give me so much crap because every time like we're going to get groceries, my wife and I go to Target like once or twice a week because it's like a minute away from our house.
Oh my gosh.
So like for the last
My
like 2
wife's
years,
dream.
all I've heard is like, "Hey, you want to do this? Yeah, I gotta run Target though first." And they're like, "Seriously, again? Just went 2 days ago." Well, we try to time it out a little bit better.
She makes it 2 days without going. My wife's is like 1 day, like
Really?
an hour. Yeah.
I honestly forgot Target was a thing. There's no Target near me. I have to go down to the
What?
mall.
Lego's
gosh.
also married to Jake from State Farm. Red shirt, so,
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's like probably about a minute from our house.
Oh
So
my gosh.
I haven't
That's-
been in a Target in forever.
the reason why. Why when I sneeze, I think I've been over this as well with some of you. My puppy, for some reason, ever since we got him at 8 weeks, he's perfectly fine until you sneeze, and he just goes ape shit.
Really?
So yes,
Gosh.
absolutely hates anything to do with anyone sneezing. So
It's interesting.
yeah, so if I sneeze, like he could be anywhere in the house, anywhere, and he could be passed out asleep, like in the living room. I'll sneeze, and you hear the like little comes sprinting around the corner and just sprint down the hallway to the office, just barking.
Straight up
so
cool,
weird.
Kool-Aid man through the wall or something. He's like, why?
Yes.
Why'd
Yeah.
you do that?
What are you doing? He's like the Kool-Aid man. He just,
Yeah.
oh no.
Yeah, so that's
Oh, yeah.
it's something I generally try to not do. They always give me crap because I'll be like, I have allergies too, which is a pain in the ass. Because I just feel like I'm getting yelled at all the time in my own house. And but yeah, so I'll sneeze and you'll hear like the mic quickly get muted because you just don't want to hear this dog come sprinting down into the office. So it's
Very
puppy.
nice.
All right. One more
Lovely.
question. This is a serious one, Sweep. We're going to put your
Go for it.
big boy pants on. Azriel Speaks would like to know. He says, so, Karate Kid fan or Cobra Kai fan?
Cobra Kai. For life.
There you have it.
Absolutely.
There it is.
There you have it.
That's a
Interesting.
good question.
That's all I
Well,
got.
I can respect that question.
And I think that's all we got for the podcast as well. Thanks everyone for coming and hanging out on stream. Thank you, Sweet, for coming out and hanging out with us today.
Thank you, guys.
We really appreciate it. This has been Lego. You can find me at Legole Flesh. Legole Flesh? Legole Flash.
Flashlight. All right. Yeah.
That's the best. Oh my gosh. Okay, Legole Flash on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. Hove, where can they find you?
Do you really want to know where you can find me?
I don't know.
Oh God.
I don't know.
Same places. Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. Hove76, HOV76. Be back to streaming trials. Hopefully, stop in for that. Maybe we'll get some. Maybe we can try to get a REZOcast card in now that there's 4 hosts again and 4 people.
I'd be down.
That would be fun.
And now we'll have someone good who can get us to the lighthouse.
Oh my gosh. Mana, where can they find you, man?
You can find me Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, mainly on Twitch at The Manigator. I actually looked it up. Everything is The Manigator now.
Ooh,
nice
look at
work.
you getting
My
all
friend.
I know.
Win.
I know what I'm called now.
He's on
Proud
top of it.
you, Proud of you.
Well done.
No doubt.
And Sweep, where can they find you?
Sweepthelegz with. I'm not as good as Mana with my branding because some guy had it with 1 Z. So Sweepthelegz with 2 Z's on Twitch and Sweepthelegz with 1 Z on everything else.
Wait, did you say you have a onesie?
I do.
Confirm.
Well-
Sweep wears a onesie.
You can also find Resolute at Team Resolute on Twitter. And, okay, Hove wants to do it. I took this away from him, and he's mad now. Hove, where can they find more about Resolute?
I don't want to talk about it.
Well, fine. You can also find them not only on Twitter, but also on their beautiful new website that we can all thank Monk for.
Right.
And that is teamresolute.com. And you can also... What? Oh,
I was just
Hove
saying,
Hove just likes that.
Just thinking about Sweep's
And
onesie.
you can also find REZOcast, us, at REZOcast on Twitter. We'd love to talk to you, answer your questions for our beautiful guests like Sweep here. And I think that's it for REZOcast episode 51. Thanks, you guys, for hanging out. And until next time.
Wait. Next week's
Hove has
episode
announced-
52.
That's what I was saying.
That's a year. We've
That's
been
what I
doing
was
this
saying.
for 1 year.
I just said, and until next time, Hove's going to tell us a little bit
Oh.
about next week. Just kidding. Hove, explain.
I did.
Okay, it's next week's gonna be awesome because it's a year. We've been doing this podcast for a year, and that's insane. But for real this time, until
love
next time,
this.
guys. GG.
GG.
GG. Yes, Ree.
Yes.